thing is that it is about you. And if you get lost in any thought, if you lose yourself, then you are not aware. If you lose who you are. Now, that does not mean when that energy rises in your body, that energy you call anger, you suppress it. No, it's the opportunity to understand it. And it only feels the way it feels because you're trying to suppress it. You're tensing your body, you're trying to push it down. That's why it feels bad. You have to let it flush, let it relax, let it move through, and not be quick to react childishly. Then you will see the energy for what it is. It feels real good. It gets you really pumped. Now what you do is focus on what you want to do, and you take that energy and you make whatever happen. And you are not suppressing. You are not fighting against your life, against your body. You're doing everything that is correct for you, and thereby uplifting humanity. But when it does not feel good, when you are doing the wrong thing. So you understand the thought process and understand the energy process. That is you. We get angry, we get frustrated because we want somebody to do something we want them to do. You don't have the right. Even though you may be correct. When you say, if you do that, X is going to happen. You may be absolutely correct. If you knock down that beam, the house is going to fall on you. You may be correct. The only thing you can do is say, would you give me 5 seconds? Okay. Say, if you knock down that beam, the house is going to fall on you. Well, I don't. Give me 5 seconds. And then hit it. All I want is enough time to get out of the house. If it falls on you, well, I'll come back and see if we can dig you out, see if you're okay. But the point is, I do not have the right to demand of another person's life. So when you get frustrated, it's because you're trying to make them do something you want them to do. Something you want them to do. It's about what they want to do. Just like your life is about what you want to do. That's the way it is. If we can share a space, we have to share the space around those issues that we can share that space around. The more and more awakened you become, more and more you're going to find that there are things you are going to need for yourself. Has nothing to do with anyone else. Nothing. All right? By the same token, you realize then that there are others. As you realize this about yourself, you realize that same thing is true for others, whether they realize it or not. And you're perfectly willing to allow that person their own expression. Because you have recognized it in yourself. For years and years, I did not recognize that within myself. I was miserable. I need time sometime. As in the state I am now, the time between times where I need time by myself broadens It may come about once every 4 or 5 years. I need a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Rarely doesn't go that long to be by myself. And that means by myself. That means no hotel with other guests running around. That means me looking at a tree. That means me. Knowing that I need this, I have to respect that in every other being. And that respect is love and understanding. Love and understanding. Because I have first come to love myself by acknowledging you need this. Every human being needs this. Every being needs that time. Well, what are you going to do? I don't know. If you're a musician, you play. You play, you express, you do. If you are a sitter, you sit. You listen, you feel, you touch. If you are an exerciser, you exercise. If you're a woodcutter, you cut wood. If you, whatever. One of the things that we need to do consistently in our lives is stay in touch with the reality of things. That is, sometime, if it's no more than an hour, when you feel hungry, be hungry. It brings about a sensitivity and awareness about others. It makes a change in you. Sometimes be alone. Get to be friends with your aloneness. If you make friends with your loneliness, it simply becomes aloneness. I like to make the statement, you come into this world alone, you will live it alone. You will leave it alone. It is a truth. We don't like to recognize it, but it is the truth. We don't like it because we still cling to our mother's breast. It is something that is very deep within us that we learned through the birth process. Our own bodies were formed within the body of another person. It was a parasitic relationship. And as we come out, we want to spend the rest of our lives being a parasite. It is there, it is very deep, and it must be overcome because the truth of the matter is only you can have your experience. No one else can know what it is that you are experiencing. They can know what it is they are experiencing. There will come a point in your life, once you have accepted the fact you don't know what they're experiencing, when you become very, very clear, there will come a point where you can know what they are experiencing as a clean, clean feeling. But until you straighten out the game, you can't know. You see, all you can know is your nonsense, because you've now taken that very pure thing and contaminated it with your ideas. No, can't do it. So, the whole idea then is understanding you first. You first. You first. We have all these misunderstandings. We have all these real weird fairy tale kinds of thoughts about things instead of the practical everyday things that they are. It's all magic. There's so many people who want to step outside this reality, to step inside of other realities, and one of the reasons they will never be able to do that is because they think this reality is bad. There's a word. It is called holy. The word means whole, complete, not disliking anything. Acceptance of all things for what they are. So those people who are wanting to escape this reality will never be able to do it because it's not about escape. The attitude is wrong. They have misunderstood. Oh, I'm not so into this physical plane. What are you, crazy? You're in it. You see, that is an example of an idea that has been twisted to meet the need of the individual. And the individual must understand that that is what has happened because it's all fine. One reality is as important as all realities. They have the same importance. Only people with small views think that there are important things and not important things. We'll go right back to that thing we talked about earlier. When there are unimportant things, you don't do those things, and that's where you screw up. You can't do that. It's all important. We have to put things in perspective. We've talked about, quote, reincarnation. Why is it we have to keep coming back? Because you didn't get it right the other times you were here. That's why. You didn't get it right the other times. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to keep doing it. If you understand first grade, you pass to second grade. If you don't understand first grade, in the true honest method, you are held back. It's that simple. And in the game of life, you don't just get passed on because you get old. You have to come back and do it again. Because the idea is to learn something, not to just get old. Yes? You see, there's a relationship. There is a relationship. All things are related. We do hundreds of millions of lifetimes just to understand one point. And hundreds of millions of lifetimes when all we have to do is sometimes look at the space rather than the walls. You have to sometimes, no, you have to always look at what you're doing. It's not always what is expressed, but what is not expressed. When I say that, let's talk about the words again. Let's talk about the gaps in the words. They also give you meaning. It is the way the gaps are formed that give you a whole sense of information. The way the words are formed, the way the gaps are formed, together they give you total and complete pictures. People make the same mistakes. Women who have people who beat them up keep getting people who beat them up. I wonder why. They're missing something in the picture. This isn't what I want. Yes, it is. That's exactly what you're asking for. Out of all the people in the world who don't beat up people, why is it you keep choosing? There are millions of them out there that don't beat up people. How is it out of the millions you keep choosing the same jerk? You see, we have to begin to look at our behavior. We have to have a broader spectrum of things. Now we're beginning to understand. It's about you. It's about you. We think that awakening or enlightenment allows you this great, wonderful life, that everybody's going to love you and everything is cool and sweet. I'm not easy to get along with. I'm not an easy person to get along with. Your feelings will get hurt 100 times a day because you don't understand where I'm coming from, and I'm not going to change because I see something more. People are going to dislike you. If you think they are going to love you, there was this thing during the 60s with the hippies. Oh, if you love life, people won't bother you. Those cops down there, they were flower, club, right in the head. No. You are against forces that don't have no understanding of what love means. They understand this and that I'm right, and that's that, and I have the right to do this. No. I understand that you do not. Now, it comes down between you and me. I am in love. I have no club, and you got a club. Guess what? You are threatening what I believe. You are threatening what I believe, truth, justice, in the American way, God, country, apple pie, mom. No. It does not work that way. You must understand. The peace, the love that you feel will be within your own being. It will bring you peace. It's not about what anyone else is going to do. Let us get rid of the fairy tale idea for the reality. Any idea of what you have or what it's going to be like is nothing but a bias and prevents you from getting there. Any idea you have about it is a bias. You can't get through the door with biases. It's that simple. It's that simple. One of the things that I have found, one of the great barriers that people misunderstand, they misunderstand love of peace. They think love of peace is what they have, and really what they have is fear. During the Vietnam War, there were many people who were conscientious objectors, who were not conscientious objectors at all, but were scared to die. Well, I mean, that's okay. All I'm saying is, know what you're talking about to yourself. You know, see, you have to say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm scared. No, that's okay. It's okay. That's an honesty. But you deny being scared and say, well, I object on the grounds of conscientious objector. I'm religious. No, you're not. You're scared. That is how we justify our behaviors. And then we come to believe our own justification. See, only love of peace will bring you peace. And love of peace means stopping the things inside that bring you lack of peace. And there's only one way to do that, and that is by accepting the fact that these things are there and beginning to look at these things in a different way so that you understand what is really happening. Peace is a byproduct of understanding. You have. So, discipline, take care of yourself. Remember that these things are a result of arriving at a particular place. Enough. Thank you. Namaste.